The questions are often challenging.
Yellow River?
Yellow River is right.
They require a wide range of knowledge of geography, history, culture, and current events.
The Niger River empties into a gulf that is part of what larger body of water?
The Atlantic Ocean?
Atlantic is right.
Which European country peacefully split into two independent republics?
Czechoslovakia?
That is correct.
But these students are prepared, having already emerged victorious during earlier state competitions. 2 days ago, 57 state champions arrived here in Washington, D.C., one from each of the 50 states, the 5 U.S. territories, the District of Columbia, and the Department of Defense schools. After grueling preliminary rounds, 10 finalists remain out of an original field of 6 million competitors to compete for $50,000 in college scholarships. Welcome to the final round of the National Geography Bee 1994. The National Geography Bee is made possible by Amtrak, which provides service to over 500 cities nationwide. Helping you to discover America, Amtrak is proud to support the National Geography Bee. Ladies and gentlemen, in the next 60 minutes, one of these 10 students will earn the title of National Geography Bee Champion 1994. From the state of Pennsylvania, Jeffrey Hoppus. From the state of California, Jory Heck. From the state of Montana, Anders Knospe. From the state of Louisiana, Michael Bebo. From the state of Arizona, Patrick Sullivan. From the state of Colorado, Jeff Fivehouse. From the state of Ohio, Robbie Herrick. From the state of Nevada, Joris Lund. From the state of Michigan, Chris Galechka. From the state of Maryland, Matthew Coyle. And now, the host of the National Geography Bee, Mr. Alex Trebek.
Thank you very much. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the National Geography Bee. I'm, of course, delighted and honored to have been asked to host this event once again this year. This is our 6th annual National Geography Bee, and it comes to you once again from the Grosvenor Auditorium at the National Geographic Society here in Washington, D.C. Now, those of you who are familiar with my work on the other program I host on a regular basis will know that my favorite time of the year is that 2-week period each February when we have our teen tournament. I really get a big kick out of working with bright teens, and today we have 10 of the brightest. I should correct myself because they are not all teenagers. 7 of these young men are teenagers. They are 14. We have 2 12-year-olds and the youngest finalist ever in national competition, an 11-year-old as well. So I'm in good company today with these 10 young gentlemen. In a little while, you'll get to meet each one of them individually, but right now I want to take a moment to run down the rules of today's event. It will take part in 2 sections. First of all, we have the final elimination round, followed by the championship round. In the elimination round, each time a student responds incorrectly to a question, one of the lights in front of that student on the panel will go out. When 2 lights have gone out, in other words, when a student has missed 2 questions, that player is eliminated from further competition. We do this until we wind up with 2 players. That takes us into the championship round. We start from scratch. It is a 3-question round, and the player who winds up with the most correct responses will be the National Geography Bee champion. All right, players, as in the preliminary competition, you know the rules. You will be allowed to ask me to repeat a question or to spell a word for you, but only twice in this elimination round. You'll have 12 seconds to answer each question, and the decisions of the judges, of course, are final. So, If you're ready, let's begin. Jeff Hoppus from Pennsylvania, we will begin with you. Our first series of questions will require oral responses only, and each of you will get a different question. Jeff, here's yours. Santo Domingo, the first permanent European settlement in the Americas, is in which present-day island country?
The Dominican Republic?
You are right. Jory, which one of Canada's prairie provinces includes part of the Rocky Mountains?
Alberta?
Right. Anders, the Chinese autonomous region of Xizang, which includes part of the Himalaya, is better known to Westerners by what other name?
Tibet.
You're right. Michael, the Mozambique Channel separates what country from the mainland of Africa?
Madagascar.
Yes. Patrick, name a desert in the southwestern United States that shares its name with a neighboring Mexican state.
Sonora.
Sonora or Chihuahua? Yes. Now we go to the bottom row. Jeff, name the country that was the dominant colonial power in West Africa.
France.
I'm sorry?
France.
You are right. Robbie, Mount Kosciuszko, with an elevation of just over 7,000 feet, is the highest point on the flattest continent. Name the continent.
Australia?
Right. Jorce, Cape Branco, which is at longitude 34 degrees 36 minutes west, is the easternmost point on which continent?
South America.
Right. Christopher, mines in the Rhondda Valley of Wales were among the biggest producers in Great Britain of what natural resource?
Coal.
Correct. And now, Matthew, name the strait that allows ships to avoid the treacherous open waters around Cape Horn.
The Magellan Strait.
You are right, and congratulations, gentlemen. You went through that first round with no misses. It is obvious, ladies and gentlemen, that these students have studied very hard to wind up here in the national final today. And there's a great deal at stake, as you know. $50,000 in college scholarships, $10,000 to the third place finisher, $15,000 for second place, and $25,000 to the national champion. Players, although only one of you will wind up being the national champion, I think everyone in this room right now and around the country would agree that to start out as one of 6 million competitors and wind up as one of 10 makes you a champion already, and you deserve some applause. Now let's find out about these young people. We have 2 veterans from last year's national competition. Not only veterans, but they were on the team that represented the United States in that international event in London. First of all, Jeff Hoppus from Pennsylvania, who placed 3rd in last year's Geography B. Jeff, I don't know if you had a chance to spend some time with the competitors from the Russian team or the Great Britain team while you were over there in London, but you tell me about your experiences.
Well, we did get quite a bit of chance to tour, and we did talk to the British and the Russians quite a bit.
Did you form any friendships that have endured throughout the past year?
Yes, we've corresponded, written letters to the Russians and the British.
Okay. Now, in your biographical information here, it says your favorite subject is history and kayaking is your favorite sport, and yet I keep seeing mentions of birds. Are you really into ornithology?
Yes, that's the meaning of the kayaks, because with the kayaks you can go into all these places where no other boat can get, and that's where the birds like to go.
You have a favorite bird?
Great blue heron.
Okay, what's the state bird of Pennsylvania?
Ruffed grouse.
All right. Not, as I once said on the air, the ruffled grouse. Jory Hecht is the other player who was with us in the national finals last year. Jory is from Albany Middle School in Albany, California. And he is one who is experienced in competition, because it says here you're the captain of the 8th grade inter-school homeroom brain bowl team.
No,
Jory, tell us about that.
I don't know.
Captain?
No, it's just a little competition. Nothing really.
They're all little competitions until you win them. Then they come.
I'm not really I'm not really the captain. I just said the answer.
You just get the answers. Well, that makes you a very important member of the team. What do you recall of your visit to London last year?
Well, I'm meeting a few of the British people who were pretty nice, and I remembered some of the tours. And
what was the most impressive thing you saw in your visit to London and the London area?
I don't know.
Okay. Do you feel a little more nervous today because it's your second time around, Jory, or are you more relaxed?
Oh, I'm a little bit more relaxed. I know what's happening.
Okay, good. Anders Knospe from Bozeman, Montana. Now, while Anders aspires to travel around the world someday, so far his favorite place to visit is Yellowstone National Park. Am I right, Anders?
Mm-hmm.
Why is that?
Well, I don't get to go there very often, and I like the geysers and, well, everything there.
Okay. It says here your favorite subject is science.
Mm-hmm.
That's a broad field. What especially about science interests you?
Chemistry and physics.
Okay. Michael Bebo from Metairie, Louisiana, which is near New Orleans. He prepared for the bee by watching the news, reading the encyclopedia, and the National Geographic magazine. Good, we got a plug in for that. You think you learn a lot by watching television? There are some people who still regard it as the vast wasteland, and I'm not one of those because I think there is a lot of good stuff on television, not only on PBS. Michael, how do you feel about that?
Well, I watch the news because lately in the past 5 years, geography has changed so much with the breakup of the Soviet Union and Yugoslavia. So you have to keep up with it.
And television is a great way to keep up with what's going on. It says here your favorite sport is hockey. Now that seems unusual for a young man in Louisiana because you don't have a team to root for there.
No, I've never even played hockey. I just like to watch it.
You do? Do you have a favorite team in the Stanley Cup playoffs that are going on right now?
I like the Canucks.
The Vancouver Canucks. Well, they're going into the final, as you know. Patrick Sullivan is from Glendale, Arizona. He is in 8th grade. He's 14 years old. He does something well, which I cannot do, and that is uses a computer. What do you use the computer for, Patrick?
I do homework on it, but mostly I just use it for games.
Games? Any kind of geographic games?
I've played a few of the Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego games.
Good. That's another good plug for the society. Jeff Fivehouse from Englewood, Colorado, which is near Denver, right, Jeffrey?
Right.
Now, something in your biography caught my eye. It says you draw fictional maps. What are fictional maps?
Fictional maps are kind of maps that I make up myself. I make up all the names and everything, all the cities and the lakes and rivers and
Sounds like
sometimes highways.
Sometimes highways.
Sometimes highways.
Now, do you make up country? Do you prefer making up countries or cities? Or what inspires you to do this? A fertile imagination, obviously.
Yeah, and I like art, so.
What's the wildest name you've come up with for a place?
I don't know, Ick, I guess.
Ick. I visited the town or the country of Ick. It says here, your favorite place to visit is your grandmother's home in New Jersey. Why?
Well, because I don't go there a lot, and I like her. And she usually visits us in Colorado, so it's kind of like a treat.
Okay. Robbie Herrick from Centerville, Ohio, which is near Dayton. And Robbie has had a passion for geography and maps and related materials for a long time now. Robbie, when did you start this interest in geography?
Before first grade. Before first grade.
It says here that you helped your family out on a trip once by providing directions, and you were how old at that time?
5 or 6.
5 or 6. How did you help them out?
Well, I read maps, and I had memorized the map we were using, so that's. And then they wanted to know where we were going, so I told them.
Your dad didn't know where you were going, huh?
My dad was not driving.
Oh. Okay, we'll leave it at that. Joris Lund is from Henderson, Nevada. Joris, recently, when I was in Washington, I heard a great piece of advice to parents. It said, live your life in such a way that when your children think of honor and integrity, they immediately think of you. And I get the feeling you have that kind of relationship with your father because he is your role model. Tell me about him.
Well, he has real great aspects of a really great person. He's honest and intelligent and caring, and he has compassion.
Does he spend a lot of time with you?
Yeah, when he gets off work, yeah, we do.
Is he able to help you in preparing for a competition such as this one? Is he, too, interested in geography?
He helps me out. We watched that other show that you
Thank you, George. Almost a plug. Chris Goleshka from Michigan. Here's a young man with lofty ambitions, and that is good in this day and age. He wants to use his knowledge of geography in order to someday wind up as...
President.
Let's clarify that, because President of the National Geographic Society or the United States?
United States.
They're sort of on a par, you know, if I'm to believe the staff here at the Society. Who's your role model in the political arena, Chris?
Well, I don't know. I share a lot of the views of George Bush, so I put that down as my role model, but...
Well, that's a good man to have as a role model. It says here, you've always read a great deal, and you have managed to travel to Canada. Where have you visited in Canada?
Well, in summertime, we take a boat out to Seaway Island, which is right across the border. There's a line separating Seaway Island from neighboring islands, and it's in Canada, and we go down on the beach sometimes. Oh. And I've also been to Goderich and Niagara Falls.
In Ontario. All right. Chris is one of our 12-year-olds. The last competitor, Matthew Coyle from Maryland, is our 11-year-old. And in addition to being the youngest finalist this year, Matthew earned a perfect score in the preliminary rounds. And your role model is?
Cal Ripken Jr.
All right, now we're getting it down to a different area completely. Cal Ripken Jr., great baseball player. Why is he your role model?
Because he donates a lot of time and money to his community.
Not because of his baseball skills?
And his baseball skills.
And his baseball skills. Both great reasons to have Cal Ripken Jr. as your role model. There they are, ladies and gentlemen, the finalists for this year's Geography Bee. Gentlemen, it's time now to get back to the business at hand, and for our next series of questions, you'll be looking at photographs of various water control devices. So take a look at the picture on your monitor when it is your turn while I read the question. And we'll start with you, Jeff Hoppus. Take a look at the photograph and listen to this question. This reservoir, nicknamed Atomic Lake because it was created by an underground nuclear explosion, is north of Lake Balkhash, in a country that borders the Caspian and Aral Seas. Name this Central Asian country.
Kazakhstan?
You're right. Let's go to Jory. Take a look. This dam, which stretches nearly 3 miles across Syria's principal river, provides flood control, electricity, and irrigation. Name this river, which also flows through parts of Turkey and Iraq.
Euphrates?
Right. Anders. Take a look. The dam that created Norris Lake, which is shown here, is one of 39 that make up a water control project that provides flood control and electricity for at least 6 eastern U.S. states. What is the name of this multi-state water control project?
The Tennessee Valley Authority.
You're right. Michael. These people are carrying jute bags filled with clay across the mouth of the Penny River, that's spelled F-E-N-I, at low tide to construct a dam. The dam was built to protect the people of what low-lying country from storm surge floods?
Bangladesh.
Yes. Now, Patrick, take a look. This grate, by channeling meltwater from Himalayan glaciers, helps power a small generator in a monastery near the Sherpa village of Namcha Bazar. This project is in what country?
India?
No, sorry. The correct response is Nepal, and that is 1 miss for you, so 1 light goes out. Jeff Fivehouse, we come to you now. This ship, by using the Corinth Canal to travel between the Aegean and Adriatic Seas, is able to avoid the long trip around what large Greek peninsula?
Italy?
No, sorry, that is wrong. It is the Peloponnesian Peninsula, Peloponnesus. That's one miss for you. Robbie Herrick. This island was built to divide the Min River into two channels. One provides irrigation for fields in Sichuan province in south-central China. The other allows river traffic to travel down the Min to what larger river?
Mekong?
No, sorry. It is the Yangtze. The Yangtze. We go to Jorce. This ship is passing through the Thousand Islands near the western terminus of the St. Lawrence Seaway. Name the Canadian port near the confluence of the Ottawa and St. Lawrence rivers that marks the eastern terminus of the Seaway project.
Montreal.
I'm sorry?
Montreal.
Montreal, yes. Chris? This Roman aqueduct, which spans the Gard River, was built to carry water to a city near the present-day port of Marseille. The Gard is a tributary of what river?
The Rhone.
Right. Matthew? The Itaipu Dam, by harnessing the power of South America's second longest river, provides electricity to Paraguay and Brazil. Across what river is this dam built?
The Parana.
Yes, the Paraná. You are right. And that takes us to the end of our second series of questions. For the next question, you're going to need your paper and pen. This question, ladies and gentlemen, involves an artifact, and all of the students will write the answer to the question at the same time. When time is up, please put down your pens, and I will read the question twice, so listen carefully before you write your response. May we see the artifact, please? It is being presented by one of the competitors in this year's national championship, Steve Strangari, the Delaware State Geography B champion. Now, masks such as this one, players, are part of the spiritual lives of the Waura people. Each mask is made in the likeness of a powerful rainforest spirit. Most of the Maura, whose population is only about 200, live within the protection of a national park near the headwaters of the Xingu River. The Xingu, which is spelled Xingu, is a tributary of what larger river? Masks that are part of the spiritual lives of the Waura people. The Waura live within the protection of a national park near the headwaters of the Xingu River. The Xingu, Xingu, is a tributary of what larger river? Jeff Hoppus, will begin with you. What did you write down?
Amazon.
Amazon is correct. Jory?
Amazon.
Amazon is right. Anders?
Congo.
Sorry, that's one miss for you. Michael?
Amazon.
Yes. Patrick?
Yangtze.
Sorry, that is two misses for you. Jeffrey?
Yangtze.
Yangtze, that is wrong. Two misses for you. Robbie?
I crossed out two others, but I got Amazon.
You crossed out Mekong, you crossed out
Yangtze.
Yangtze, and you came up with Amazon. Good for you. That keeps you alive. George, hold your card up so everyone can see it. You put down the Yellow River first, you crossed that out and came up with Amazon, right? Chris?
Amazon River.
Yes. Matthew?
The Yangtze.
That's one miss for you. That concludes this round, and we have to say, Jeff? Just put them down where they were before in the slot next to you. We have to say goodbye to two of our competitors, ladies and gentlemen, Patrick Sullivan of Arizona and Jeff Fivehouse of Colorado, who will each receive $500. Our next series of questions centers on ethnic hats from around the world. Before I read each question, the winner of a state geography bee will come on stage wearing one of the hats so that you can all get a closer look at it, particularly the players. And after I finish reading the question, you will, of course, have 12 seconds to give me your response. May we have the first hat, please? This hat is being worn by Jeremiah Lindsay, the Wyoming State Geography bee champion. And the question is for you, Jeff Hoppus. This ribbon hat is from a highland region in Chiapas, a state in southeastern Mexico. The hat is part of the cultural tradition of descendants of which pre-Columbian people?
The Maya.
You are right. May we have the next hat, please? This one will be worn by John Naradze, the District of Columbia State Geography Bee champion. Jory, this hat was given to Lieutenant A.W. Greeley by native Arctic people during his exploration of the Queen Elizabeth Islands. These islands are part of what country?
Could you please repeat the question?
Yes. This cap was given to Lieutenant A.W. Greeley by native Arctic people during his exploration of the Queen Elizabeth Islands. These islands are part of what country?
Canada?
Right. Next hat, please. This one is being worn by Shea Fayanju, the New Jersey Geography Bee champion. Anders, although used as protection against the sun and blowing sand in many countries of the Middle East, this kafia, or gutra, is typical of those worn in the country that is the site of Islam's holiest places. Name this country.
Saudi Arabia.
Yes. Next hat, please. This hat is being worn by John Platek, the South Dakota State Geography Bee champion. Michael, the colors and patterns of this hat from Nepal are typical of those worn by people who live in a valley that shares its name with the country's most populous city. Name the valley.
Kathmandu.
Right. Next hat. This one worn by Michael Hauser, the Missouri State Geography Bee champion. Looking sharp. This hat, although called a Panama hat, actually originated farther south in the smallest of the Andean countries. Robbie Herrick of Ohio, name this country which still produces these hats.
Ecuador?
Right. Next hat. Worn by Jamie Jones, the Florida State Geography Bee champion. Jors, hats like this one are typical of those worn by equestrians from a plateau region north of the Guadalquivir River. This region extends across much of what European country?
Spain.
Right. Now a question for Christopher. May we have the next hat? This one worn by Anthony Georger, the Idaho State Geography Bee champion. Chris, hats like this one were part of the uniforms of Anzacs, soldiers from two present-day Pacific countries who fought as a unit in the Battle of Gallipoli during World War I. Soldiers from which two Pacific countries make up this Anzac force?
Australia and New Zealand?
Yes. Now for Matthew. This hat is being worn by Stephen Fan, the Connecticut State Geography Bee champion. Matthew, hats like this one are worn by palace guards in one of the world's most ancient cities. Name this city, which is the southernmost capital on the mainland of Europe.
Madrid?
No, sorry. The southernmost capital on the mainland of Europe is Athens. Athens. I'm sorry about that. That gives 2 misses to you, and it concludes this round. And Matthew, we say goodbye to you. But congratulations on getting this far. Before we move on to the next round, I want to take a moment to thank Hats by Haber of Silver Spring, Maryland, and Ron Hinckley of Great Falls, Virginia, for the use of the hats. Players, for your next question, you will once again need your paper and pens, and as you write your answer, you will do it at the same time as the other competitors. And remember, you won't be penalized for inaccurate spelling or pronunciation as long as our judges can determine that you do know the correct response. Here is the clue for you. Only one U.S. state has river systems that drain into the Great Lakes, Hudson Bay, and the Gulf of Mexico. Name this state. One U.S. state, river systems draining into the Great Lakes, Hudson Bay, and the Gulf of Mexico, and we want you to name the state. All right, put your pens down. Everyone hold up your cards and show me what you have written. Hold up the cards now, all of you, and we'll start with Jeff Hoppus. What did you put down?
North Dakota.
North is?
North Dakota.
North Dakota. No, that is incorrect, Jeff. That's 1 miss for you. Jory, hold up your card.
Minnesota.
Minnesota is right. Anders said Minnesota. He's right.
Minnesota.
Michael said Minnesota. He's right. Gentlemen down here, hold up. Minnesota is right. Minnesota. And Minnesota. So only 1 miss, but it didn't cost anyone a continued position in our final. Jeff, just 1 miss for you. All right, for the next series of questions, you will refer to the monitors that are in front of you, where you will see a map showing major African cities. Take a moment right now to study the map. Each of you in turn will be given information about a city and asked to give its name and the number on the map that identifies its location. You must answer both parts of the question correctly in order to receive credit. Jeff, we'll begin with you. The most populous city in Central Africa is on the southern bank of the Congo or Zaire River. Give the number and name of this city.
Number 16, Kinshasa.
You are right. Jory, the city at the mouth of the St. Paul River was founded in 1822 by the American Colonization Society. Give the number and name of this city.
A, Monrovia.
Right. Anders, when the city at the confluence of the Nile's chief tributaries was rebuilt by the British, it was laid out in a design that resembles the British flag. Give the number and name of this city.
Number 12, Khartoum.
Khartoum, correct. Michael, the capital of the country once known as the Gold Coast is on the Gulf of Guinea. Give the number and name of this city.
9, Accra.
Accra, yes. Robbie, a city northeast of Casablanca replaced Fez as the capital of Morocco in the early 20th century. Give the number and name of this city.
Number 1, Rabat.
Right. Jors, the city that briefly served as the capital of Italian East Africa is at a higher elevation than any other capital city in Africa. Give the number and name of this capital city.
Number 13, Addis Ababa.
Yes, Addis Ababa, right. And now, Christopher, this city is the capital of the country in North Africa that has the continent's largest oil reserves and is a leading producer of gypsum. Give the number and name of this city.
Number 2, Algiers.
No, sorry. The correct response is number 4, Tripoli. Tripoli, that is 1 miss for you. All right, we have 7 students remaining, and all of the remaining final round questions will require oral responses only. Jeff Hoppus, we come to you now. Name the grain that Native Americans traditionally have harvested from the lakes and rivers of Michigan, Minnesota, and Wisconsin.
Rice.
Be more specific.
Wild rice.
You are right. Jory, New Zealand is named for a province in the home country of explorer Abel Tasman. What is the present-day name of this European country?
Denmark.
No, sorry. It is the Netherlands. That is 1 miss for you. Anders, the Colossus of Rhodes, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, takes its name in part from the island where it is located. This island belongs to which Mediterranean country?
Greece.
Yes. Michael, the name Ulster is commonly used to refer to which political region of the British Isles?
Northern Ireland.
Right. Robbie, the ancient cities of Byblos and Tyre were major Phoenician ports on what body of water?
Mediterranean Sea.
Correct. Jors, if you took the ferry from Cape Breton Island across the Cabot Strait, you would be in which Canadian province?
Newfoundland.
Yes. Christopher, the Strait of Sicily separates Sicily from which country in North Africa?
Tunisia.
Right. Back to Jeff. Name the multi-country peninsula that is bordered by the Adriatic, Aegean, and Ionian seas.
The Balkan Peninsula.
You are right. Jory, the Wallachian Plain is a rich agricultural region between the Danube River and the Transylvanian Alps in what country?
Could you please repeat the question?
The Wallachian Plain is a rich agricultural region between the Danube River and the Transylvanian Alps in what country?
Hungary?
No, sorry, you're close, but the correct response is Romania. Anders, we come to you now. Name India's chief port on the Arabian Sea.
Bombay.
Right. Michael, the Gulf of Bothnia separates Sweden from what other country?
Finland.
Yes. Robbie, ancestors of the Kyrgyz and Uyghur were among the many people who vied for supremacy of the central grassland region of which one of the 7 continents?
Asia.
Right. Jors, Mesopotamia A name commonly associated with an ancient region of the Middle East is also the name of a region between the Paraná and Uruguay rivers. In which South American country is this region?
Argentina.
Yes. Chris, one of Belgium's most valuable crops is a plant that is used to make everything from fine linen and lace to linseed oil and rope. Name this plant.
Could you please repeat the question?
One of Belgium's most valuable crops is a plant that is used to make everything from fine linen and lace to linseed oil and rope. Name the plant.
Kapok?
No, sorry, it is flax, and that is your second miss. And so, Christopher, we say goodbye to you and Jory Hecht, and we congratulate you on getting this far in our tournament. Jeff, we come back to you now. Tripolitania, Cyrenaica, and Fezzan are historic regions in which Arab country?
Libya?
Yes. Anders, the islands of Alderney, Sark, and Guernsey are part of which European archipelago?
Repeat the question, please.
The islands of Alderney, Sark, and Guernsey are part of which European archipelago?
The Channel Islands.
Correct. Michael, Rosetta and Damietta are the names of the two main distributaries of which major river in the eastern hemisphere?
The Nile.
Right. Robbie, the Milford Track, which allows hikers to see everything from temperate rainforests to glacier-covered peaks without fear of dangerous snakes or carnivores, is a wilderness trail in what island country?
Indonesia?
Oh, no. New Zealand. 2 misses for you. Jorce, Marajo, an island nearly the size of Denmark, makes up much of the delta of which equatorial river?
Could you please repeat the question?
Marajo, an island nearly the size of Denmark, makes up much of the delta of which equatorial river?
The Amazon?
Yes. And that takes us to the end of this round. Robbie, thanks for being with us, and congratulations on getting this far. Jeff, back to you. The Simplon and St. Gothard passes in the south-central Alps connect what two countries?
Italy and France?
Italy and Switzerland. Sorry, Jeff. Anders, now it's your turn. The eastern and western Ghats border a plateau region that makes up much of the southern portion of which country in South Asia?
India.
You are right. Michael, the Pharos Lighthouse, which is believed to have been the first ever built, once marked the entrance to Egypt's chief seaport. Name this port city.
Alexandria.
Yes. Jorce, which one of the political units that make up the United Kingdom is known as Cymru in the native language of its people?
Scotland?
No, that is incorrect. The correct response is Wales, and that is 1 strike against you, but Jeff has 2, and so we say goodbye, Jeff. I don't know if it'll help you 3 relax, but you're in the big money now. The next player to be eliminated will receive a $10,000 scholarship. Anders, we come to you first. Australia's second most populous city periodically experiences severe dust storms that carry topsoil from nearby farms. Name this city, which is just southwest of the Snowy Mountains.
Melbourne.
Right. Michael, the Senegal River forms the boundary between Senegal and its northern neighbor. Name this neighboring country.
Mauritania.
Yes. Jorce, a Dutch word is commonly used for land reclaimed from the sea. What is this term?
Can you please repeat the question?
A Dutch word is commonly used for land reclaimed from the sea. What is that word? Sorry, Joyce. You're going to remember this one for a long time, I'm sure. It is Polder, P-O-L-D-E-R. But we're saying goodbye to you, Joyce, but congratulations. You've got a $10,000 scholarship coming your way. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are now down to just 2 finalists, which will take us into the championship round, where we will start from scratch. One of these young men, Anders or Michael, will emerge as the National Geography B champion for 1994. While we reset the stage, we'd like to take you all to one of the world's great cities for a very special event in which I was extremely proud to have been a participant.
The first International Geography Olympiad was held in July 1993 at the Royal Geographical Society in London. Competing were 3 teams of students from Russia, the United Kingdom, and the United States. The students, recent winners of national geography competitions in their home countries, tested their knowledge for cash prizes and, in true Olympic tradition, for gold, silver, and bronze medals. The Olympians spent 5 days in England, giving them plenty of time to catch some sights.
The Marble Arch just down to the left. Tyburn Tree was situated there. That's where the public hangings used to take place.
And pose for some obligatory photos.
Your head's in the sign. We want to see the sign. There you go.
But the business at hand was the competition, which included several intense rounds of questioning.
The animal represented on this mask is associated with guerrilla fighters in the country that produced the mask. Name the country.
The language barrier was facilitated for the Russian team by an interpreter's simultaneous translation.
Следующая страница.
Turn the page and look at the larger map.
Посмотрите на большую карту.
Teams sometimes relied on the strengths of individual members.
Sweden.
Sweden is right.
And sometimes not.
Remember, ladies and gentlemen, this is a team effort.
The opposition was tough.
Zambia.
Zambia is correct.
Burma. Myanmar.
Myanmar or Burma? Yes, well done.
Bolivia.
Bolivia is right. And it was very close, ladies and gentlemen, but the United States team is the winner of the first International Geography Olympiad. Congratulations.
The Olympiad was both an educational event and an enjoyable occasion that brought together students with diverse cultural backgrounds. Gilbert Grosvenor, president of the National Geographic Society, hopes this contest will grow in the future to include students from many more nations.
From the international arena back to the national arena, where we begin the national championship round. Players, you will be competing in this round with a clean slate, as I mentioned earlier. And the round consists of 3 questions. I will ask you both the same question at the same time. You'll have 12 seconds to write your answer. Then I will ask you to hold up your answer and read it aloud for me. Whoever correctly answers the most questions will become the national champion. If after 3 questions there is a tie, we will go into sudden death. The contestant who correctly answers a question that the other player misses will then be the national champion. You've got your pen and paper out. You are ready to go. I will read each question twice. You will then have 12 seconds. Here's question number 1. Name the only non-Islamic country bordering the Caspian Sea. Name the only non-Islamic country bordering the Caspian Sea. Are you satisfied with your responses? You can take the full 12 seconds. All right, hold up your cards, please. Anders, you wrote down Russia. Michael wrote down Russia. You are both correct. You each have 1 point. Here is your next question. What country recently opened the vast oil reserves of the Darim Basin, just south of the Tian Shan, to exploration by foreign oil companies? What country recently opened the vast oil reserves of the Darim Basin, just south of the Tian Shan, to exploration by foreign oil companies? Time's up. Hold up your cards, please. Anders, you wrote down China. Michael wrote down China. You are each correct. You each have 2 points. Here's your third question. Name the river that forms most of the boundary between Nicaragua and Honduras. Name the river that forms most of the boundary between Nicaragua and Honduras. Hold up your cards. You have written different responses, so you're either both wrong or one of you will be the champion. Anders, you wrote down the Nicaragua River. That is incorrect. Michael, you wrote down the San Juan River. That, too, is incorrect. The correct response is the Coco River. You each have 2 points. Whoever responds correctly now, while his opponent misses, will be the champion. Here's your next clue. The Tagus River roughly divides which European country into 2 agricultural regions, grain and potatoes in the north and grapes in the south. The Tagus River, T-A-G-U-S, roughly divides which European country into 2 agricultural regions, grain and potatoes in the north and grapes in the south. Hold up your cards. Again, you have written different responses. Michael, you wrote down Italy. That is incorrect. Anders, you wrote down Portugal. That is right. And you are the 1994 National Geography Bee champion. Congratulations. Very good. Well played. Michael, good job.
Well, I didn't think I was going to win. I thought I would not even be in the top 3. So I was amazed when I actually won.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to the President and Chairman of the National Geographic Society, Mr. Gil Grosvenor.
Tough questions, great competition. I'm certainly glad I didn't have to compete today. You know, in the 6 years of the National Geography Bee, our competitors seem to be better informed, brighter, and sometimes younger. And I think each of our 10 geographers today proved that point. I think we also proved that American education can succeed. We are clearly seeing the discipline of geography in this country rising to where our kids will be competitors in the international marketplace. And I want to thank particularly the teachers who are here today, who have worked with these young kids. They're the ones that are making the difference in education today, and I think we all owe them a great debt of gratitude, and I want to thank them. I'd also like to offer special thanks to Alex Trebek for hosting this competition and making it the great event that it is. And thank you very much. And now it is our great pleasure to present these scholarship checks to our 3 winners.
Our third place prize, a $10,000 scholarship check, goes to George Lund of Henderson, Nevada. Gil, I would like to make a brief mention of something that relates to Michael Bebo. His mother was not able to be with us yesterday for the preliminary competition, but when he became a finalist, we flew her in last night. She is here today to enjoy this moment as he gets second place in the National Geography Bee. the champion's reward, $25,000 to Anders Knospe of Bozeman, Montana. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the National Geography Bee for 1994. I'm Alex Trebek, and on behalf of the National Geographic Society, we thank you so much for tuning us in. Let's do it again next year when we will once again present 10 of the brightest young geographers in the United States. So long, everyone.